So let's start with myth number one. Most homeless people sleep on the streets.
Well, that's, as you say, it's the first of many myths around homelessness. I mean, a huge number of studies show that the number of people sleeping rough, sleeping on the streets as we understand it, is about 1 in 10. Okay, so they constitute between 10 to 15% of the population. But because they're the most visible, people tend to think that's the homeless population. And there's a danger there, because what we know of those who do sleep rough and do sleep rough more or less permanently is that they have very different characteristics to people who have other forms of homeless experiences. So amongst those who sleep rough more or less permanently, we see much higher rates of substance use. We see much higher rates of mental health problems. We see higher rates of physical health problems. So that all creates this image of the homeless as a group of people who are completely without any form of accommodation, who have a range of disabling conditions. And that's actually a myth, because most people don't sleep rough permanently. Some might have an experience, a short experience, but most people aren't rough sleepers. They're not the typical population. They're at the sharp end of the spear, as we like to say.
Who or where are the other people who experience homelessness?
Okay, and again, it's a good question, because where do people go when they lose their home? A lot of people, particularly families, particularly women, will double up with friends and relatives. Okay, but there's typically only a limited amount of time that you can stay at a friend's or a relative's place. It just gets too cramped and crowded. We also know that a lot of young people will couch surf. They'll stay on a couch and surf between their friends and families and so forth. A lot of people are in what we call temporary boarding house accommodations. So boarding houses, which used to be much more common in the city, but are now distributed out in the suburbs and, in fact, regional areas. A lot of people will be put in there for a sort of an emergency stay, or they'll stay there for a short period of time, but it's not their permanent place to live. They also don't have access to their own bathroom or the normal facilities that we associate with home. So there's a range of places where people will stay, because people will adapt and try and get by. But the key point is that when you think of homelessness, most people think of those who are on the street. It's a much wider, larger, broader population than that.